Welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to be decoding the unwritten rules of society by diving headfirst into the internet court of public opinion. Today we're analyzing 4 absolutely wild Reddit stories, and we'll be guided by the hilarious commentary of the Smosh Pit cast: Shane Topp, Amanda Lehan Canto, and Olivia Sui. It's going to be quite a ride, so let's just dive right in. But hey, before we open up our digital docket and get to the real drama, the cast sets this really fun, casual stage by comparing their Aura sleep tracking rings. Shane notes that his ring actually tells him he's stressed when he's recording these wild stories, while Amanda credits her good sleep score to doing a lot of meditating and, just chasing a toddler all day. It's just a great little reminder that whether we're internet personalities or just everyday people, we are all basically just trying to optimize our daily chaos.
So here's our agenda for today. We'll be hitting the price of miscommunication, insecurity on full display, quirks versus weaponized disrespect, belittling your partner, and finally, the ultimate social takeaway. Let's start with Section 1, the price of miscommunication.
Our very first case brings us to a house-sitting arrangement that ended in a remarkably tacky Venmo request. Imagine this. A woman asks her friend to house-sit for the weekend and explicitly tells him, "Hey, help yourself to whatever in the kitchen." But secretly, her actual expectation was, "Don't touch my $120 vintage Barolo wine." Naturally, he drinks it, because why wouldn't he? And then she actually sends him an $80 Venmo request, generously giving him a quote-unquote discount. This brilliantly illustrates the total danger of implicit boundaries. I mean, if you don't explicitly protect your expensive wine, you really can't be mad when a guest happily chugs it while watching Netflix.
The cast's reaction to this is just fantastic. Amanda completely hits the nail on the head here, saying, "I'm sorry that it was $120, that sucks, but don't you dare try to ask for a Venmo. You simply can't." And she's so right. Asking for an $80 discount reimbursement after offering your home and telling someone to make themselves comfortable, that is a major violation of guest logic.
And speaking of making yourself at home, Shane notes during the discussion that you could upgrade your own daily essentials with high-quality, breathable European linen from Quince, which is exactly what he's wearing in the video. It's a nice little wardrobe refresh before things get messy.
All right, moving on to Section 2, insecurity on full display.
Get a load of how miscommunication can escalate into profound, highly toxic insecurity at a wedding. We have a 25-year-old bride who literally demands that a 19-year-old catering server leave her wedding. And what were the server's supposed crimes? Wearing too much eyeliner, having diamond studs, and wearing a uniform that was too tight. The bride actually threatens to call the cops when the catering boss refuses to send the teenager home. Now, while the bride's mother and maid of honor completely enable this, the groom and mother-in-law appropriately call her crazy. This bride weaponizes her special day to punch down on a teenager who is literally just trying to do her job, revealing some truly terrifying character flaws.
Olivia Sui has an absolutely savage, totally unhinged reaction to this story. She says, "Satan is waiting for her. I don't think you should get married. I think it would be a bad idea for you to have children." It's brutal, but Olivia correctly diagnoses that this level of obsessive control masks a deeply, deeply unwell person. This whole situation is a textbook example of projection. In psychology, that's displacing your own feelings of insecurity onto another person, which often manifests as extreme control or criticism. Like the cast points out, the wedding didn't magically turn this woman into a monster. It just gave her permission to show her true, deeply insecure self to the world.
Which brings us to Section 3, quirks versus weaponized disrespect.
Now we're looking at what happens when a partner's silly behavior stops being cute and crosses the line into psychological warfare. So, 18 months ago, a husband starts using goofy names occasionally. Okay, no big deal, right? But then, 6 months ago, this nonsense language becomes constant. He starts calling Walgreens, "Eat your greens," and saying "Bagayaya" for good night. Fast forward to the present day, and the husband is speaking to their toddler in these fake words, completely confusing the child, and absolutely refusing therapy. Finally, a year later, the wife files for divorce. It really shows how a seemingly harmless little quirk can completely spiral into a marriage-ending lack of respect.
So, the Smosh cast tries to figure out what is actually going on here. Is this some sort of weird trauma response, or is it a deliberate manipulation tactic to berate his wife? The real kicker is that he only uses this nonsense language around her and the kids, but acts completely normal and professional at his finance job. That strongly suggests it's just a deeply annoying, calculated way to ignore his wife's boundaries and drive her crazy.
Next up, Section 4, belittling your partner.
These final cases center on partners who consistently move the goalposts just to make their significant others feel small. In this story, the original poster belittles his girlfriend's little waitress job. Then, when she spends hours making him homemade Valentine's chocolates, he actually mocks her because she used a microwave to melt pre-made chocolate instead of doing it from scratch. The guy then goes on Reddit trying to get the internet to validate his condescension. He only forces out a fake apology after everyone online absolutely drags him. This is a total masterclass in how to diminish your partner's efforts, taking a really sweet, time-consuming gesture and using it as an excuse to look down on her.
And to make matters even worse, we have another story where a man actually ranks the women in his life based on their cooking. I'm not kidding. Coming in at number 1, a friend's cheating ex who he calls the Kobe of pork chops. Number 2 is his own wife, who is apparently the Shaq of baking. And the current girlfriend, she gets ranked dead last at number 3 as just average. And the craziest part is, he uses this absurd basketball analogy right to her face when she asks how the dinner she just cooked for him was? No way.
Olivia perfectly channels our collective rage at these belittling men, offering a hilariously specific threat of domestic burglary as a punishment. She just goes, "I want to take away your stove, your shoes, I want to move your ass out of your house." It's honestly the perfect reaction to a guy who clearly has zero respect for his partner.
Finally, Section 5, the ultimate social takeaway.
So, what does all of this digital chaos actually teach us about human behavior? Well, the absolutely crucial point here is that behind every viral Reddit post is a failure of empathy, communication, or basic respect. So let's review. Say what you mean and don't set weird traps for your house guests. Remember that weddings do not excuse cruel behavior. Dismissing a partner's annoyance is a massive red flag. And for the love of everything, appreciate the effort, even if the chocolate was microwaved.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want you to ask yourself a question. We so easily judge the internet's worst characters, but are our own unwritten rules actually clear to the people around us? Are you communicating your boundaries clearly, or are you just one bad pork chop away from ending up on Reddit yourself? Think about that the next time you offer someone a glass of wine. Thanks for joining me today, and keep learning.